For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review video on a brand new driveway from Dometic. So with me here today, I've got the Dometic Leggera Air 260 DA, or Driveaway as it should be called. So it's one of the products I'm most excited about for the new season, I think, in general, just because it ticks so many boxes of what I want it to be and do. So, sorry, I'll get to the point. Essentially, this is a really nice, functionable, well-priced awning which can be used. It basically gives you the functionality of a standard fixed awning, but the flexibility of a drive-away. So what we've got is something that's sort of small, compact, will fit onto kind of like Ducato vans and that sort of stuff, as well as kind of motorhomes. But gives you a little bit of space without necessarily breaking a bank. Previous to this, it's almost, we'll call it its bigger brother, was the Rally Driveway, which is still in the collection, still in the range. But from a price point and bulk point of view, it is a bit bigger and a bit more, well, a bit more to it in general. Naturally, you pay what you get. The structure is different, so it still has its place in the market for those who wanted something overall a bit bigger. But even for something small and compact, that's where I think this is really, really on the money. It is a bit of compromising comparison, so that's one thing we'll go through on this video. So we'll start with the fabric. So we're running with a 150 denier Weatherfield material, so really nice kind of, it's nice and durable. It's not necessarily too heavy, so it means again pack size and pack weight does come down a bit, so it is a bit better on that front. We've got still flexibility, so we've got a really nice big open sort of front door and front window panel, 2 side doors into the main body, and even 2 doors into the tunnel section. So regardless of how you're looking to set the awning up with your van, you've still got the option to create whatever you want to on that front. We've got 2 inflatable tubes, one here, one here. They are inflated individually, so it is a multi-point system, which differs to the Rally. And also you'd add 1 bracer bar in the roof just to get that tension. So again, it's all about hitting a really keen price point, but still giving the benefit and the benefits of driveways in general. One thing I like as well is because of the overall height of it, it feels quite spacious inside. So it's almost like having a fixed awning to this point, but like I said, with that driveway function. We've got storm straps on the side, again, just to give it a bit of bounce and braces, and then additional ones on the front here as well, just to kind of get it looking really nice and taut. We've got colour coordinated pegging points as well, so you can see these orange tabs located at the bottom. That's basically to dictate which you sort of peg first. So you can peg the back ones you see there, and again send ones against the van. Now, in terms of the pitching process, how I would go about it, you can go with the easiest solution, which would be basically throwing straps over the top of the roof, pegging it and guiding it in the ground the other side, thus pulling the fabric up against them. So for me, that's probably the easiest way. But you have the functionality. There is a 6mm beading on there. So what you can do is actually buy a fixing kit and connect it into a winder awning. So be it your Thule, your Fiamma, Omni Store, anything like that, it will connect into that with the additional fixing kit. So naturally, I always find it fits better with throwover straps because you've got a bit more flexibility. And when you want to drive away, you can literally just unpeg them, pull it back over. The whole tunnel section here will then roll back, leaving what is here freestanding, so you can leave your furniture and that sort of stuff just nice and neatly in there. Also, in terms of throwing over the straps, people always sort of say, is that not a hassle? You can get a tennis ball, something like that, wrap it around it, throw it over the top, anything like that, and it's not going to damage then the vehicle itself. We've got an apex ventilation point up here as well, so that's helped to circulate air directly into it. And you've got, again, skirts, which again just kind of finish it off really quite nice and neatly. As standard, you get some plastic pegs, which again I would probably upgrade and buy some metal pegs for it personally. That's one thing I would say. And then the door at the front of here can roll up, so it can become a nice big open section. And with the front door itself, if you really wanted to, there's nothing stopping you buying some additional king poles and just kind of creating a little bit of an extra canopy directly on that if you really wanted to. Perfect. So even though the main body of it is 260 wide, it's then 240 back to the beam. So when you drive away, 240 deep, and then the tunnel section is 90 centimeters. So in total, we're talking 330 out, 260 wide. The tunnel itself does splay out a little bit. Now this is basically to make sure it's going to fit things like Ducato vans. So anything with a sliding door, Ducato, Boxer, anything like that, like a large Renault Traffic, for example. It's designed that your sliding door can open fully within that tunnel section. It's 2.9 on the connection width, so along the top rail, if you were connected to rail, or straps over top. That allows you to open the door quite nice and neatly. And one thing I'll say with those kind of, I call them panel vans, with panel vans in general, the wind outs are all over the place. Your wind out's never in relation to the door, so it's always a bit of a tricky one, but whether it's going to fit or not. The joys of the further straps, it negates that, and even if you've got sort of like solar panels or like a popped up roof, you can still manipulate the straps to try and miss that the best you can. The front door, like I said, you've got a full front window as well. So you've got a Velcro window, so you still get obviously plenty of light into the awning itself when it is a bit like today when you've got a bit of drizzle. But failing that, like I said, the door can then just simply and easily roll up, roll up, roll up. So we can roll that up directly. Got oversized points located there. So even if you're not the best at packing it away, you can do so. And then you've got this kind of called like a Gothic arch peak. So the joists again helps to give a very boxy feel. So the side panels are very vertical, and this helps give additional height. But more importantly, when we get to the back of the beam, because the back beam close to the vehicle is taller, it allows the water to slope directly off and sheds off like so. In fact, let's bring the camera around and get a better feel for the awning itself. So now we're inside the awning. We can see we've got two doors either side. So there's actually main doors into the actual awning itself, into the main body. So if you, say, want to put like a pup tent in here, so a small little tent sleep somebody outside of it, there's no actual clip points for it, but you can buy a freestanding in or something like that to go inside. So that way you can have access into here without having to go through, the tunnel section itself. Now, the door panel you see at the back here will actually, it unzips from sort of left to right. So this kind of mirrors your sliding door. So on your van, so that way you can take it back kind of halfway. That then toggles back like so, and then you've got your sliding down van door, which is there. So it kind of mirrors that and creates a really nice flow. If you wanted to, you can open up fully. So this can open back and roll back. So if you wanted to kind of, have everything all in one located area, that's perfectly fine. Because you've got that sort of 90 centimeter tunnel gap here, when that door is in place, you do have a natural kind of little bit of a storage area between the van as well. So, and that pretty much lines up with the start of the van. So I think that works really well. And then you've got doors inside the tunnel either end. So that means you haven't got to go through the main awning every time you want to go into the van itself. So again, it works really well. There is a lot of play with kind of the fit of it as well. So it will fit any vehicle of the connection height from 220 up to 330. So it's got a whole 1.5 meters of adjustment. There's lots of internal strapping here to take up that fabric. Now, naturally, when you're on the lower end of the spectrum with the awning, it's not going to look as probably smart as it would do as on top because the fabric condenses. But it's all about trying to get the best sheltered area. It's all about practicality over probably looks in that way. It's all about functionality. So one thing you can do to try and get a really nice tight fit is there are actually pre-punched limpet holes. So there's a little sucker system you can buy from Dometic that will sucker it to the side of the vehicle along on a flat surface and just try to get a bit of a seal. The tunnel section will always be a sheltered area to and from the van. It's never been completely watertight because obviously it is just fabric against the side of the vehicle. So it's never going to be perfect in that sense, but it creates a really nice sort of open space and works quite nice and neatly. When you detach the tunnel from the actual van itself, the tunnel section then will roll back and sit against this point here. So there are little toggle loops, which I'll show you later on, that goes round. So again, that works really nicely. And there's little clips located in the roof as well, just to kind of get the tunnel, so you can still get a good sort of watershed off from the van back to this point here. In fact, let's pick the camera up and go a bit up close with some of these details. So, firstly we'll see the sort of size of it, and we'll go to the side panel actually to show you the depth out from the vehicle. So, like I said, your main body there, sort of 240 that point there, and then the 90 centimeters at the back. You can see how it's going to fit. You've got, like I said, it's an expansion part here, so it's a adjust point. So, like I said, it's designed that it'll fit as snugly as it can to the van itself. You can throw the straps over, and you can probably, if I come around this side, you can see we've got 3 straps in total, just kind of pulling out. So the key thing is to angle them away from one another. So it's pulling the fabric not only across the width, but back over it. So that I would say is kind of a really important thing. Nice little chance for enterprise as well there. And when we come to the side, again, like I said, we've got a tunnel door located here, so we can actually get into the van without going through the main body. I've just given you an idea of the mesh on both sides of the door into the main body. And again, you can see we've just literally thrown the straps directly over the top and going from there. And then you've got these toggle points back here, so that whole tunnel kind of shifts back. Little apex vent located at the front again, that's really quite smart. As we kind of come into the main body section, we can see kind of the framework. So you've got this adjustable pole that goes into the roof section, so that actually just goes into little points there, and you can just expand that open. So a little buckle expands that and it keeps the ridge between those two. You can see that kind of very boxy shape. I think it's really quite nice. And then you've got the apex vent located at the top. We've got these little windows located down the bottom as well, so you can get a little bit of visibility, and obviously with the front panel in place, that works really well. There's no sort of trip hazards in and out, so it's all kind of nice seamless. There's a little strap along the bottom just to make sure you don't oversplay the base of the beams. That kind of keeps that really nice and contained. But then you see in terms of the tunnel fit, we've got a door in the tunnel, so actually a little storage area, and it goes up and you've got a really nice height. So even if you're on kind of a slope here, because this is a nice tall point, it means there's not so much of a low point. It's not as steep an angle from the van to the main body, which you find with a lot of other panel van awnings. And then you've got lots of adjustments, so not only straps up there, but also this whole sort of tunnel section here can be tweaked, as well as like I said, the limpet holes, which we've got located there, as you can see. So, but because it sort of splays out, so the main body itself is 260, but like I said, it goes to 290. So, and you can see where that sort of tunnel door finishes nice and neatly. We do have a range of draft skirts as well you can look at as well, but you can always sort of check in with us on those as well. But yeah, I think it's quite simplistic, you know, quite nice and sort of small, compact size. And I think that's the thing, when you've got like sort of panel vans like this, one of the space and traveling with it is kind of a very crucial part of it. You don't want something to be too big or something that's not big enough. So you want to make sure whatever you're getting is going to kind of fit your needs. And that's where I think this really ticks the box, you know. And I think for the price point, it's around about, I would say, it's not quite half the price as like the Rally Driveaway, but maybe it's probably at least a third less, if not a little bit more. So, okay, it's less functionality going on with it. There's no ability for annexes or anything like that. It is a small, compact driveway awning, but one that's been designed first and foremost to fit panel vans. Most other driveways on the market, its first point of call is to fit a small little VW. So when it gets, all they want to do is make a nice taller tunnel, which is a real pain because when you want to, you can't open the sliding door, you have issues with the fits. That's where anything like that, it's all we struggle, and you've got to spend the best part of over £1,000 to get something that's going to fit properly. So it's nice, and that's why you probably tell I'm quite excited. For something like this that's got to hit that price point for the people who haven't got to spend an absolute fortune to get something that's going to fit properly, and it's still as functional and nice. You can buy a range of carpets and stuff, breathable flooring to go in there, as well as other little extras, so your storm straps and that sort of stuff. There are other things you can buy to complete it, and of course you can check the link below this video to take you through to that website where everything's all listed there. So on our website we've got things like the latest pricing we're offering on it as well, all the accessories you can buy for it, individual features, floor plans, dimensions, that sort of stuff. And if you're not really sure about the fit, contact us and we will send us a photo, email us a photo over, and we can go, right, that's not going to work, it's not going to work. We can always advise you, because the last thing you want to do is spend, you know, several £100s, if not £1,000 on some stuff, and it's not going to work as you want it to. So that's where the fit is kind of crucial, and kind of use our expertise to make sure whatever you buy, it's going to work more than anything. So no, but that's in a big old nutshell is the Leggera 260 Driveaway. As you can tell, really quite like it. The only thing is the fit's not quite as probably perfect as I want it to be, but it's functional, and that's why I say it's all about, okay, it doesn't look especially as neat and tidy. Depends on where your van's rail is. I mean, for just context, the height of the top of the vehicle, I think, is 265 for this one, so it's fitting the middle range of what it can do, down to 220, 330 top ends. So you've got that flexibility. You know, in theory, it will fit a taller midline van as well. So that aspectly probably is not as pleasing, but from the functionality point of view and then the price and what you get, and more importantly, that sliding door opening, which is my biggest bugbear, I think it ticks a box and ticks a really big box. And that's why I think it's something we'll look definitely to have up on our indoor display showroom. And again, like I said, from a price point of view, it's great value as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, enough rabbiting on for me. Any more questions, give us a shout. Let us know what you think about it as well. I'd love to hear from you guys of what you think. But hopefully it's been helpful and a bit more in depth. But let us know what everything goes. So thank you very much for watching. We look forward to seeing you again next time in our Attwoolls Outdoors video reviews.